back here, Legends of Professional Wrestling. This week we got a great array of news, unbelievable news. But right here we got Peanut. This man, he's the underdog of Revere. He won first prize. That's right. No, he didn't win first. He won third. It's all right. First time around. But he's got the third prize right here. And we got big news this week. We got underdog here. Can you believe it? Look at this dog. And we got the Gullah Twins returning to Revere at Club Lido. The Gullah Twins, the devastating Long Riders, the House of Pain with their manager. Can you believe it? Don't you worry, they're going to beat the heck out of whoever they're in the ring with. I know it. I've been in the ring with these guys before. Right here at the Legend Show. Welcome everyone to Legends of Professional Wrestling. This week we got an unbelievable tag team. You can believe it. Let me tell you, these guys have been around New England for decades. They're known as the House of Pain. That's right. Frank, Joe, their manager Evo. They're coming back November 10th, and they're coming to Club Lido, so you guys better beware. And if you're wrestling these two guys, I feel bad for you, because let me tell you, you talk about crowbars, you talk about stiff guys, that's right, we were once the six-man tag champion, but these guys are the NWA local tag team champions, and they're gonna kick some you-know-what. November 10th, Club Lido, be there or be square. Let me go right now to the #1 man on the team, Frank Gullah, right here. We missed you last time when Joe was on. We finally got you twins together. Let me ask you the question to start it off. Which one of you guys came out first?
From what I understand, I came out first.
You came out first kicking?
I came out kicking.
Kicking like a wildfire, huh?
He came out biting.
He came out biting. I know one thing. You were never late for supper at your table, because I know you got another set of twins. You got your other brother, Johnny, and your sister as well.
That's correct. That's correct.
And you guys are the only real brother tag team. You're not like the Grams. You're not like these guys, the Hollywood Blondes, that they say they're brothers. You guys are original twins of professional wrestling. And tell us when you started right after Joe. Go ahead, take it over.
I started in 1974. You know, way back when with Gene Santos, which was Gene Dundee back then. And from then on, we just kept traveling and wrestling and beating people up. That's what we were made of. And, you know, with my brother here beside me, we were just unbeatable, identical twins. The only identical twin wrestlers that I know of.
Absolutely. I mean, now Joe started, he wrestled Jim Nance at Wonderland Ballroom. Joe, tell us about that bout.
Well, back then I was traveling with Tony Santos, and we were working out in Boston at the Boston Arena. My first match here was with the Flying Frenchman on the card, and that was Edouard Carpentier, and I wrestled Jim Nance, who played for New England Patriots, who retired and went into wrestling, so did Ernie Ladd and some other top pro athletes. And it was a great night that night. I still remember it well.
Now, I remember I started out with you guys with Gypsy Joe from Chelsea. Remember, we used to drive around the van, used to tell us all those jokes and all those great things that we went around, all those carnivals and tours. And that were the early years of you two guys when you just first started wrestling as a tag team, because at first, you started first, Joe Gullah, and then Frank come along, and then you had a little mix up there, and then actually you formed the team known back in the day that I used to call you the Long Riders, and then you became the House of Pain, wrestling for the CWA with the late Tony Rumble, and you turned into a great team, and a little bit before your time, because I believe, and I believe from my heart, that this team of the House of Pain could have went a lot further had you been maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years before your time.
That's right. If we were born 10 years earlier, we would have been top stars for our time, yes.
Well, you guys had a good background. You traveled all over New England. I know Frank wrestled Razor Ramon, you wrestled Ted Arcidi tag match, and then you picked up this guy on the end, Evil. This guy's evil.
First of all, I'm not a brother, so I'm not a twin, and I just want to go back a couple of shows that we had, that we turned around and we said, oh, House of Pain, they're all retired now. This guy's doing this, and this guy's driving a bus. Well, here we are right now. We're back. They put the paper up. We signed them the dotted line. House of Pain is here to stay.
Now, I know you're wrestling this guy that used to These teams, he used to keep score like a baseball team. What a mock. 9-1, 10-0, 7. There's no record in wrestling. Either you're a winner or a loser. And I know you guys were winners from the day one. Now, I wrestled you guys in my second professional match down the Cape, and Joe gave me a good claw cleaning, and you were right behind him. But you know what? After the match was over, we got in the car and we went home, and it was over. But now you guys got this guy, I don't know, the suntan Superman, and this other guy, Martino, whatever his name is. What's his name there? The one with the smooth operator or something. He's not going to be too smooth that night because I know you guys are going to hammer him up, and I know you guys are going to come out victorious, and they're not going to come into the ring and try to take those tag team belts because they're not tag team wrestlers. Tell us about how you started as a tag team, how that started.
Well, when we started, I was on the road first in my younger days. And when I did come to Wonderland, which was my first match in this city, my family came to my match. My brother was in the audience, my father was in the audience, and I was in the ring wrestling, and there was a big fight going on out there. I went to look, it was my family, my father, my brother. They got in a fight with the fans because they were booing me. And from then on, my brother said, I got to have some of that. We started training together, and from there we traveled. We used to travel to Long Island on a routine basis. We traveled to Brooklyn, Babylon. We would go to New Jersey, right?
Bangor, Maine. We went everywhere for $35.
We did New England area because I worked and he worked as a living. But in the first few years, I traveled for like 2 or 3 years on the road. And I said, this is a tough sport. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have to be a tough person to get in the ring, because you have to be in shape and you have to know what you're doing in that ring, or you will get hurt. There's guys out there that will shoot you and hurt you if you don't know the sport.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because I remember back in the day when we were going to New York City, and I believe we went around a rotary a couple of times, and we actually, Frank can tell us about this, when we got a vapor lock on the car, and the car got stuck in the middle of the highway, and if it wasn't for this guy, Frank Geller, we wouldn't have made it to the show. Tell us, Frank. Tell us about that one.
This is true. We were booked in New York, and there's no way out of it. We had to get there, so unfortunately the car broke down. So being a mechanic in my younger days, picked up a piece of rubber tubing, and what happened was the car formed the vapor lock, and what I did was I just undid the line, sucked the gas through, put the line back on the carburetor, and away we went. And I believe that was a 1965 Rambler.
Yeah, that was that big red Wildcat, wasn't it?
No, it was my Rambler.
It was the big red Wildcat.
It was a blue 65 Rambler way back then. Oh, yeah. But we still did it. We still got there. We still did what we had to do. A little biting, a little kicking, cheat to win is our motto, no matter what it takes. We're going to win. And if we can't do it, we got an evil guy over here that's going to be right behind us, helping us out. So anybody who wants to come in the ring, don't think that we're over the hill or any of that stuff, because we're still full of power and we're still full of pain. So don't let anybody fool you. So if you want to see something good, come down to the Lido, November 10th. And I guarantee you, we're going to tear the house down.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I've seen some of your shows with the CWA and NWA New England, the local shows, and I tell you, I've seen the big names fall lower down, because when you guys came out, you popped the crowd, and they were right on the House of Pain. They had Evo there. You got all your entourage, as well as, I know I saw a Big Snake at one time. I saw a whole bunch of things, and I tell you one thing, like I said, you guys were a little bit before your time. Let's go into that first insert with Frankie G in his younger days, ripping it up right here at Empire Pro Wrestling. Yeah, that was Frankie G ripping up the damn canvas. He beating all those guys. He wrestled in ICW, AWA, NWA. You could put all the 3 letters together. These guys have been all over the independent network. Now, that night, November 10th, get your tickets, go down to Club Lido, come by All New Upholstery, because you're going to see these guys come out of retirement. And like I said, I feel bad for the guys that they're wrestling. I tell you, they're going to get really roughed up because these guys are rough guys. And Frank, tell us a little bit more about what you did after you wrestled with me. You went into ICW, you wrestled Razor Ramon, some of the bigger names. Then you went to CWA with Tony. Tell us a little bit how the House of Pain came into what you got now, the House of Pain.
Yeah, back then when I wrestled Scott Hall, which is Razor Ramon, I wrestled Superfly Snooker, and way back I wrestled with Dominic Danucci and Killer Kowalski. But then we got this thing together with the motorcycles. Since we love motorcycles so much, we started thinking about, Jesus, why don't we just be a motorcycle gang, you know? And before you know it, we developed the House of Pain, me and my brother, and we just went on to bigger and better things. We started beating everybody that came in the ring. There wasn't a tag team out there that we didn't defend our belts against. You know, everybody came in, challenged us, and we did what we had to do, and as you can see, we're still wearing them. We retire with them. You guys want to come back and take them? Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Come on in. We'll sign on the dotted line, like Rick said. We're open to everybody. And don't let the age fool you, because you see these, we still have it. We still got it. We're still good. We're still strong.
Now, you were one of the first guys that I seen. I got some pictures of the both of you, and I remember that tattoo on your right arm was one of the biggest tattoos at the time that I ever saw. And then you got the one on this side, and then your brother started getting tattoos, and before you know it, you both got more ink on you than Bic. I mean, come on, I mean, and then you got Evo down the end there. Evo, tell us a little bit more about what's going to happen to that suntan Superman if you get your hands on him. Tell him.
Well, it starts like this, Rocky. It's cheat to win, like Frankie G said. Cheat to win, win to cheat, whatever it takes. House of Pain, that's what we do. That's our gimmick.
Like I said, back in my first couple of matches when I wrestled as Rocky Raymond as a babyface, one of my first and second, my second match was a main event. They put me against these two guys. It was Steve Bourbon and Rocky Raymond against Frank Gullah. And we got a clip of that. I don't know if we got it coming up, but it's going to be one of the inserts that we have tonight. And it wasn't an easy fought match because it was at the Beverly Ice Arena, and the ring that we had, it looked like a pretzel, had more snakes in it, and you had to know where to fall because it was a boxing ring. It wasn't even a wrestling ring. It wasn't like these rings today with the springs, the pads outside the ring, all the glitz and glamour, the fireworks, the music. We didn't get no music. We didn't get no pads outside the ring. We didn't get no entrance music. We got in the ring. We did a wrestling match. And that's what the Marquis said, professional wrestling. And that's what you had to do back in the day. I mean, if you did some of the stuff that you see now on TV, of course, I couldn't go that long, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, back and forth. It's more like a workout, not a workout, but it's up and down, lucha, a cartoon, so to speak. Because if someone cuts up me in a lucha libre, comes up and puts their head around my neck, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to just drop you. These Lucha Libre matches, people don't understand. It's a 50-50 work. Like on this poster, I'm going to show you this poster. This is the big one, Big Time Wrestling. It's Santos. That was Santos' name. Tony Santos used to use Big Time Wrestling. And they got some guys on here, Lucha Libres, that I know if we wrestled them, Frank, Joe, myself, or even you, Evo, you'd probably, they're about, I've seen leave piles higher than some of these guys. And they're very small, but you got Just Incredible on here. You got Spike Dudley, Psycho Sid. Now, Psycho Sid, you better get your kids off the street. You better shut your windows, close your doors, and you better close your scissor drawer because he has a thing for scissors in the dressing room. You guys stay clear of him in the dressing room. He's not playing with a full deck. As well as the Sandman, all you liquor stores in Revere, beware. Bring 2 or 3 beers down for the Sandman. Bring 2 or 3 cases because he's going to drink all of that, get in the ring with Just Incredible, and they're going to beat the you-know-what out of each other. I believe it's the next to the last match. I already saw the lineup on the sheet. And the Gullah brothers are going to be there, saving them for the end because you know what? After they see these guys, the people leave the building. But we're going to say they're going to save you guys for the end too. They're going to save you guys for the good things are always done last.
Well, we did when we were wrestling with Tony, King Kong Bundy was on the show, and after we got through with our match, King Kong Bundy came up to us, and I don't know if you remember what he said. He says, "What am I supposed to do after this? You guys should be going on last. I should be going before you," which was a real treat for me to hear that from a guy who's been up in the major leagues most of his career. It's just to show, we showed him that we have what it takes in the ring to make your mark and make people know that they were there and they're gonna remember what they saw.
Well, the ring presence alone, let me tell you about your ring presence. I mean, you guys in the ring, there's no team in wrestling that has the look that you guys have. You guys are good looking, you got the goatee, you got the size, you got the meanness. And ring presence is like when superstar Billy Graham got in the ring and he wrestled guys like that, and say Gorilla Monsoon. You guys are real men. Today, the problem with wrestling is too many young kids getting into the ring. Now, they had a wrestling match at the Club Lido with the shoot fighting the other night, and I hate to say it, but the two guys that were in the ring, they were knee-high to a grasshopper, and I really hate to say this, but the crowd booed them. When you guys get in the ring, the electricity is going to be unbelievable, because I know you're going to have a great crowd with you. I know there's going to be a great crowd following, because you have a great following here in Revere. And I know that in the end, the two guys, like I said, I can say this over and over again, but you guys are going to be hurting in the morning. I hope you don't have to go to work or whatever, because after these two guys get done with you, you're going to look really messed up.
Another thing, you people out in Revere remember the times that we had the big match at the Harry Delarusso Stadium? Well, we tore the house down then, and all you kids back then are all growing up today, and I'm sure you told, or you're telling your children today that you were at that match, and I expect to see you all down there. Take your kids, take your grandkids, take your mothers, your fathers, your uncles. Come on down, see the House of Pain. We haven't changed. We're a little older, we're a little stronger, and we're still tough. So bring them on down, all you people that recognize us from all our matches in Revere, all our friends and everyone else out there, come on down. Come out and check the House of Pain, because you're going to be very satisfied from what you see. I guarantee it.
Now, Joe, how do you feel about coming out of retirement, I mean, and getting into the ring now? I know basically you have a hell of a forearm.
Well, let me tell you something, Mark. We may not have been in the ring for the last 5 years, but we work out regularly on a routine basis at gyms, at home, training new students at schools 1-2 times a week. So just because we haven't been in the limelight for 5 years doesn't mean that we're not in shape for this match. So let's get that straight right now. We are ready for the younger crowd, the older crowd, whoever wants to go work against us. We're not coming out of retirement as far as we haven't worked out in the last 5 years. We're coming back strong, healthy. All athletes have to take some time off to heal. We did the same thing.
Well, you're like a good glass of wine. You get better as you get older. You get stronger. You get a better taste. And you know something? Evo, I know you're over there. You got something to say. Spit it out.
Well, as Joe was saying, King Kong Bundy did say that. He didn't know what to do after the match was over. We had a match with Barry Windham. Barry Windham did the same thing. He was taking his tights off. The promoter had to go up to Barry Windham and say, "Where are you going?" He said, "The show's over. The people were leaving the building." This is the type of crowd that we have. Not to mention that the House of Pain also has Johnny Petrovic that was on this show.
Johnny, yeah,
Johnny couldn't
Petrovic.
make it tonight. He's training.
Yeah, he's training. He didn't show up at the Marshfield Fair either. Beefcake was waiting, but he didn't show up.
He didn't want a haircut that night.
He didn't
That's
want
what
a
it came
haircut.
down
He
to.
wanted to get them all cut.
That's what it
All
came
right,
down
let's
to.
go to the booth right now for that next insert. Let's get the wheel going on the next one, and we're going to go right now to the booth. Look at this, Joe. We got you unbelievable with those famous red tights with those stars, Joe. Tell us where these tights originated. Why you wear these tights? I believe it was something to do with the Valiant brothers.
That's right. There was Hanson Jimmy and Russia's Johnny Valiant. They were kind of my idols growing up, watching them back in the old days. And when I started wrestling, I liked the flashiness of the business, and that's the type of person I was. and we decided to go with that look ourselves.
The 70s and the 80s, and you see Frankie G and Rocky Raymond in the ring right now with these unbelievable arm drags. You guys were tremendous. Watch the elevation on this backdrop. Watch Frankie G fly through the air like the greatest of these. This isn't Barnum and Bailey's. This was the good old days of professional wrestling, the 70s and the 80s, Joe.
That's right. That's when you were wrestling was wrestling. You didn't take time out to talk. You didn't take time out to run around with the crowd. When you had an hour time limit, you wrestled that hour time limit.
And look at that, I had hair.
We both had hair back then, Robbie.
There's that Sunset Flip by Steve Bourbon. That's not the drink either. Okay, back to the great wrestling that... Hey, we're back here. Do you believe that match for my Beverly Ice Arena? The Gullah twins, they were known as like the Valiant Brothers. If you notice the stars down the side. Tell us a little bit about those days, Frank, when you had those tights and you wanted to go in the ring like the Vans, because those were your mentors. Talk a little bit about the mentors, why you got into the ring, and let me take a shot of that tag team belts, cameraman. Get a shot of them tag team belts together. Look at those belts, huh? NWA style.
We work very hard for these. You just don't get these belts. You earn them. You work. There were times when we wrestled, when we first started out, we wrestled in barroom brawls. We wrestled
Hour time limits.
Our time
There
was
was like-
2 out of 3 falls.
Like Rocky said, there was no music. You didn't have that to kill some
Hoopla.
time. We went in for hour time limits, had to wrestle an hour. Back in single matches too back then. You had to wrestle the whole hour back in the 70s and early 80s when we first got into the ring.
There were times we wrestled at fairs. We wrestled outside. We wrestled in the rain. We've taken showers in barrels just to build the name of the House of Pain.
I remember that night in the barrel. I remember that.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
remember
one
that?
time in the shower too. I felt something warm on my leg, but it wasn't the water. It wasn't hot water. It was you, Frank.
the House of Pain.
Yeah, it
to
was
show
you
what we're made of.
doing those
We're
things that
nasty,
you
we're
do.
mean, we're dirty.
Doing
you
those
know.
things that you do.
But you know what? Whatever it takes to build a reputation, this is what we did.
It's just like going from the minor leagues to the major leagues. You know, you're in the minor leagues, whatever sport you're in, then you go up to the majors. Sometimes you get dropped down to the minors. We were in the minor leagues when we jumped up to the majors. Now we're back down to the minors. Doesn't mean we don't know what we're doing. It's just that we decided to get out of the wrestling business after so many years and get in shape again and heal. So now we're back in the minors, working our way back up again.
Well, you guys are established. I mean, like a lot of people don't realize professional wrestling. Frank Gullah, Joe Gullah, Evo on the end, even myself. There's another side to the coin. You got to wake up in the morning and go to your real job. You got to make money. You got to keep a roof over your head. Sometimes the shows that we wrestled on didn't make enough money to go full time all the time and just have a wrestling career. We had to do both things. When I was in Florida wrestling in the NWA, I was one of the first people ever. There's no one from New England ever went to the real NWA with guys like the Briscoe brothers, the Funks, the Brad Armstrongs, the families, like the families of wrestling. That was what it was back in the day. You couldn't get into wrestling unless you knew somebody. And it was a
Exactly.
family-oriented thing. It was the Briscoes, it was the Funks, it was the Armstrongs, and these guys like the Grahams, you know, all the Grahams. They weren't real brothers and sisters like you. You guys basically are the only tag team from New England that were original twins, real brothers. And we talk back way back when we did that show from Evening Magazine, Channel 4 with Robin Williams, a long time ago. And they got you two guys in the ring, and before you know it, you guys were hammering each other up like someone took each other's pork chop at the table at Christmas time.
Well, when you're an athlete, Rocky, you give it 100%. We still have heart. Kurt Schillings, he's in his 40s. There's other athletes that are in sports that are in their 40s that are still going strong and making millions of dollars. Back when we were wrestling, they didn't have the TV, they didn't have the games, the dolls, the videos, the CDs, the MPs, and all the other stuff that you see on TV today. You had to go out there and work. It was a job. That was my living. So naturally, it got easier as time went by because all the electronical stuff that was involved, pinball games, arcades, and dolls and all that was the big hype when Cyndi Lauper came in, started singing with Captain Lou Albano. That was the beginning era of the music.
That was the rock and wrestling connection that they
That's
had
right.
from
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden and
Yeah.
everything. And Frank, tell us how you feel about coming back into the ring after your lengthy absence. I know you can still do it, and I'm coming down, and I'm definitely I'm going to take my cameraman. We're going to come down there. We're going to film your match exclusively because I want to see what comes out of this, and I hope what's going to come out of it is your big power slam moves. I know you go with that power slam. You had the big elbow, and you use all these power moves.
Neck
like
breaker.
I have the spinning neck breaker, the power slam, the suplexes that I've used, jumping off the top rope, knees, kick to the chest, leg locks, arm locks, hip tosses, you name it. I've done it all, and I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of no one. And if anybody wants to come in, and if you're at the show November 10th at the Lido, and you feel like taking us on in another match, just let our manager Rick know, and we'll be glad to sign up and take you on. We're not afraid of anyone.
And also, it's not, we just found out about this match. We knew this match was coming 6 months ago, so we've been training for this match. We're working out together. I got him picking me up, me trying to pick him up, and working out our, and make sure we still have the stamina to get in the ring and last. With age, you make sure that you can still last and stay out in the ring. So we're on the treadmill. We're working out at night. We're throwing each other around for the last 4 or 5 months. We're ready.
Well, I know you're going to have better endurance than the other team, and I know that I'm going to look forward to a couple of double clotheslines, a couple of double elbows, a couple of double body slams.
Team, that's
I want to see some mud get pushed into the mud,
It's
if
working,
you know what I mean.
That's right. It's working together, Rocky. It's like a pack of dogs, pack of wolves. They don't work by themselves. They set it all up, and then when
Set
they
a
go for the
perimeter
kill, boom, they all join in together. It's like anything else. We're a club. We are the House of Pain. Rick, my brother, myself. We are a club. He'll set the guy up, and before you know it, I'm on top of him like a cat on a piece of meat, so it's no different.
Like a cat on a fish wagon here in Revere.
You know what I'm saying?
A fish wagon.
Well, I'm talking a big cat. I'm talking a lion, not a
You're
little
a big
pussy
cat. Don't worry. You got that
But-
size
but-
17 boot.
I
I tried
got-
your shoes on one
16.
time. Take a shot of those feet, will you?
I got a 16
Talk
foot.
about water skis.
And once you feel
Holy
these, baby,
cannoli.
once we put the boots
Are you
together,
wearing those in the ring that night?
That's right. These are them, baby.
look out, because
It
Look
comes-
at that.
Rocky,
if
my
a
foot.
13 hurts, where do you feel a 15 and a 16? Let me tell you, it leaves a hell of a print.
And not only that, my foot goes from your waist to your neck on most people. So when I give you a boot and I step on you, I cover you from your belly to your neck. So you hurt all over the next day.
I heard you were going to be renting them down on Revere Beach for water ski Sunday.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you
I
go.
was painting your house
you
one
wish you
time.
were
Well,
in
they
these
used to have
shoes.
row, we were going to try to get into
We
it. but,
rode all right.
They wouldn't let us use our boots, so.
I heard about you and water. We don't want you in any water,
he sinks.
in any gym,
I go to
in
Bally's.
any whirlpools.
Bally's Fitness, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm ready.
We wanna
I'm
get-
ready. Joe's ready. Evil's ready. Come down to the Lido, and we're going to show you what the House of Pain is all about. Don't let anybody fool you, because we're ready to go. You want some ass whooping? We're going to give you some ass whooping, let me tell you.
Well, we're going to keep you out of the water because we know you on your back in water. It looks like a fin and a shark coming out of the
there you
water,
go.
but it's
Dun,
not
dun,
a
dun,
fin.
dun, dun, dun,
We don't
dun,
want to
dun,
get
dun,
into
dun,
that
dun,
story
dun.
because we're going to have to put the triple X on.
there
Evo, what
you
do you
go.
got to say? What are you going to do with these guys? You're going to do? I heard you feeding them underneath the door. You're getting them all worked up, sliding it in and sliding it out.
He's got us in training right now.
These guys are ready at all times, Rock, like I said before. These guys are always ready to go. The House of Pain is a cult. It's got a following that you can't even believe out there. Like I said before, once these guys are out there, once the people see them, it's just going to be like any other day, just like the old days. The cheering's going to be going on, and there may be some cheers outside going on. Who knows? Once you're outside, that's my territory. They don't want to go outside, but my boys feed me outside.
Well, we saw you at Marshfield Fair. We saw what you did to El Mascarado outside. You turned his mask around backwards, and you stuck a taco in his ear, and he lost the match.
I
He
don't
lost
know
the
what
United
happened
States
outside.
title.
I didn't see him.
Let me tell you, Rick can give it up, but he can take it. I remember we had a match, and I was in the ring. Rick got hit with a chair, and he ended up getting what? How many
9
stitches?
stitches.
9
9
stitches.
stitches.
Wasn't it your birthday too or something like that?
Yeah, it was
on
a
his
t-
birthday
it was a
night.
bad night.
I'm in the ring. He gets hit with a chair, and he starts walking back to the locker room. He's all dazed. I jumped out of the ring. I said, Rick, you're bleeding really bad, but you know what? You gotta do an interview. I turned him around. I faced him to the camera, making the man that he was, and I says, now start doing your interview. And that's when he really hooked up and says, I can handle this. And he took it like a man. He's still doing it.
All right, let's go to that insert from Government Center. When you guys were running in the ring with the motorcycles, let's go to the Town Plaza in Boston. Let's see the footage, and let's see some ring presence.
1,000 people.
Wow, you guys are pretty tight, I tell you. You got that black gear on.
Yeah, well, you know what it is. We were
Look at that ring
our
presence.
faces. Look at our faces. You couldn't tell one from another. So when we switched and we did our gimmicks, and it was legit. We didn't
Gimmicks?
Need a gimmick.
There was no gimmicks.
We didn't need a gimmick. It was automatic.
I heard a couple stories how Frank broke someone's shoulder. Come on, gimmicks.
He broke a shoulder. I've broken a leg or two in matches. As you see here now, as I'm going to be starting to take on this kid. He's about 290 pounds.
Trooper Gilmore.
Trooper Gilmore. And this is right in
Wow,
Boston.
what a hammer.
And when I gave forearms, baby, you know I hit you. Because I used to work chest, and I knew what I had to give out, I had to take. That's a leg lift to the chest.
Look at that big elbow
Big
now.
elbow
That's
to
coming
the
down
neck.
with some velocity.
And that's not just one, Rocky. And let me tell you, people don't realize when you're in that ring,
Oh!
you're jumping up, you're in and out, up and down. You have to have stamina.
Now, I
You
know
just can't
got
stop.
you got those heavy boots on, and you got that heavy leather attire on your forearms.
And
right?
it's 90 degrees out.
Oh my God.
So between the heat, you just had to be in shape to be in this ring.
Well, I know you had that big 7'4" guy who was like the size of Andre the Giant. That guy Larry, Big Larry.
Look at that shoulder to the shoulder. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that elbow drop, huh?
Who's
right
that?
back up on my feet again.
Snake Boy? What was that one? Snake
Well,
Boy.
no, when we came in
then
with
go to
the
Joe, then
Viking
Evil.
image,
Keep it on
that
them,
was a
don't talk
natural
over each
thing.
other.
We all ride.
Watch this big slam. That's 300 pounds. You're second after Frank. Don't talk over
He
him.
lied. It could have been
All
300
right
pounds.
then. We're back here, Legends of Professional Wrestling, and this week we got the House of Pain, Frank Gullah, Joe Gullah, and their manager Evo. Frank, tell us a little bit about these days and how you felt about being in the House of Pain at Government Center.
That was the big day, baby. Government Center, you want recognition, go to Boston, you get all you can, and what you do there is you put it all out on the table, baby. What we did there, a lot of people will never forget what the House of Pain did over there. We had the bikes, we had the bikers, we had the gangs, we had our backup. And what we did in the ring, you only saw a little part of that. If you were there, you'll remember we had those fans going out of their mind because the House of Pain did what they were supposed to do, and that was to win. We won, we did it, and we're gonna do it again. Boston was great, and we're gonna look forward to doing it one more time in Boston.
And Frank, you know, being out of the ring, I know that it's like riding a bike. I know you guys got it all in your head, and you know exactly what you're gonna do, and hopefully put it together like the old days. I mean, don't rush your moves, take it easy, lay it in nice and hard. And Joe, what's your plan for this match? November 10th.
Right now, I sleep, eat, drink, wrestling. Everything on my mind right now is wrestling. I don't look any different now than I did 5 years ago in that match you just saw me in the ring. I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, I'm in and out, I'm up and down. I don't get tired. I've always had myself good wind and trained to be like that. So I'm no different now than I was 5 years ago. But right now, like I said, that's all I do is eat, drink. Everything I do is this wrestling night, November 10th at Lido, and I'll be ready for that match against the two guys that I think it's Trey and I forget the other guy's name that were wrestling.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
You're
not
right.
gonna matter because let me tell you something. Like I said, I'm gonna work you guys into a frenzy myself. I'm gonna cause trouble.
You remember the Rocky Raymond
I'm gonna
days?
cause trouble. That's
Playboy
right.
Rocky Raymond, he was no slouch either, let me tell you. You think the House of Pain was bad? This guy knows how to throw a punch, knows how to throw a kick, and he knows how to give you fans what you want. This guy, let me tell you, folks,
I might run in the ring.
knows how to wrestle.
I might do a run-in.
You know, why don't you join the House of Pain?
Why
Why
don't
don't you
you
come and join with the House of
Well, let
Pain?
me tell you something.
You know what?
We
Do
got
it.
something mixed up.
Don't talk about it, join us.
Don't worry. No, you know, you're saying that now, all right? But let me tell you something. I'm going to get Revere High School if it's the last thing I do. And we're going to do that big show for all the deceased wrestlers, Tony Rumble, Colin Laborski, Pat Sullivan, and
John Cronus,
and John
the-
Cronus.
John Cronus.
Those four. I got a meeting with the superintendent, Mr. Laspinato. And if we don't go to Revere, we're going to go to Saugus.
Don't forget Pat Sullivan.
We're going to do a show, and I'm going to, because I say what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do that show for those four deceased people that I know, and we're gonna get it on, and maybe we're gonna sign a big main event like that picture behind Frank, the six-man tag sports night for Gypsy Joe. Remember that night? We had Gypsy Joe there? Cameraman, take a shot of that poster. Take a shot of that poster behind Frank and
there,
show
baby.
them. There it is, right there. October 21st, Chelsea Armory. We ripped it up as a six-man tag. I walked in the ring. I slapped Ricky
1983.
Sexton in the face. We did it all, and that's a devastating team right there. The six-man tag champions. And you know who the guest referee was? Killer Kowalski, the Grobbler. He might be there that night.
Hey,
He might
bring
be
him
there
on.
that night.
Wow, but we
But
nice to see
you know
Killer.
something? I'm glad they got you rolling because you're like a well-oiled machine. Now I'm just gonna throw some sparks in there because it's
all.
not gonna be your last match because you're back.
No.
And it's not gonna be your last match.
No, it's not going to be our last match.
Evo, come on. Tell me what you've been doing secretly. I know you got a plan. I know something in the back of your head. You're very devious. You got that guy, Johnny Petrovic, and you're doing something with him, that underground rear naked choke. Are you guys going to do any of that UFC stuff, the rear naked chokes and all those chokeouts? Because I know you know those chokeouts, too.
Well, let me tell you, Johnny's been working with these guys. He knows these guys have been doing not only wrestling, but they've been doing UFC fighting. They've been doing Muay Thai. They've been practicing. They've been doing all the moves. So, I mean, this is just another little weapon in the arsenal that the House of Pain has. I mean, this is just one of many. But House of Pain comes in. It's just, not as a wrestling match, it's just, it's an all-out...
Street fight.
It's a street fight.
Well, they rained
Well,
down. They rained down with those punches. Like we went to Lido, we rained down. But let me tell you, Florida had the Briscoes. Texas had the Funks.
Nice.
Pensacola had the Armstrongs. And New England had the House of Pain, Long Riders, any way you want to put it, the Gullah twins. And these guys are real twins. They're from a wrestling family, too. Don't forget, it goes back a long way with Gypsy Joe. They wrestled with Jim Nance. He came in a later date. I came in after that. But let me tell you, these guys wrestled with Crusher Casey, the Flying Frenchman, not Bobo Brazil, Hobo Brazil. We had Haystack Maldon instead
That's
of
right.
Calhoun.
That's right.
All the trick names that Santos, the original Santos.
That's
They're
right.
calling this, again, big-time wrestling. Let me give you the lineup one more time for the benefit of the doubt. I don't usually promote other people's cards, but Terry Allen used to wrestle with me. Seems like he needs a shot. In the main event, you're going to have Sid Vicious against Too Cold Scorpio. You're going to have Sandman against Just Incredible. You're going to have Dudley, Spike Dudley, the little runt, and then you're going to have the return of the House of Pain with Evo against the Suntan Superman and Martino, this big guy, Martino.
Martino,
But I
that's
know
his name.
one thing, Martino is going to be really devastated, as well as the other guy there, the Suntan Superman, because you guys got some big plans. But this is the big lineup. It's November 10th, Club Lido. Get your tickets in advance at Ticketron. You may have to take out a loan to buy the ticket, but you know what? It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a great show. And just to see these two guys from Revere, get your grandmother out of the kitchen, get your sister off the phone, get your brother off those chat lines, and come on down and see the Gullas, the Gullah twins, the original twins, okay? Now we're going to go to the next insert, and then we're going to come back with the Mac Classics from the Boston Garden, and we're going to come back with these guys, the House of Pain.
Alcohol like bad men. They'll take you to places where you don't want to go. They'll keep you there longer than you want to stay, and it'll cost you more than you're willing to pay. So let's have hugs instead of drugs. That's the Iron Messiah's way. And remember, it's better to build a child than to have to reconstruct a man.
Here comes Snip and Snap Franco. I got out of the cage. I got to feed him, baby. The legends of pro wrestling are going to be on. The best of the best of Empire Pro Wrestling is going to be on for 2 hours. Tell them the time.
Friday at 10 o'clock and Saturday at noon.
Oh, stay bit me.
So be there, be there.
Hey, Franco, look at this camera. Bruno Sammartino signed it, the living legend. This is the camera that took all the matches from the Boston Garden, the Great Mad Classics, the legends of professional wrestling. Tell them what time.
Friday nights from 11 to 12. And remember, if you want to have a blast, watch the Wrestlers for the Past. So either be there or be square.
Let me just fill you in on how the House of Pain actually started. Let's just get it straight right from the beginning. The House of Pain started with Joe and myself. We started at one of Rocky's shows in Everett as a steel cage match. The steel cage match was tremendous. That's when Joe would come in with the skulls and the suit on, and you know, it just was a tremendous match. And that was the original House of Pain logo that we started with, and that's what got the ball rolling pretty much on that show. Then we got Frank involved. We said, Frank, we got to get you back in. The House of Pain started from there, and that's when the cult began. That's when Bear came in. That's when Joe Snake came in. That's when Cutter came in. These are all the guys that are House of Pain from day one until the day we die. These are House of Pain members, so that's how it started, and that's the beginning of the House of Pain.
That's exactly right. Me and you went in, you had the bulldog in the back of your coat, I think it was.
Absolutely. It was the bulldog with the spike collar, and that's what started it all.
Yeah, that's right. And I had a cage match that night, and I wrestled a 35-minute match, I think it was.
And somebody threw a banana in, and the banana ended up in somebody's face, didn't it?
It ended up in my hand, and then it ended up in somebody's face.
Exactly.
So, and we had to get out the door to win the match, and on the way out the door, I went to try to slam the door on the person that I was wrestling.
Brickhouse Baker.
Right, and I end up hitting myself in the head with the door, and then from there, finished the match.
Okay, let's go with the pilot program with the 8mm cam, better known as the Bruno Sammartino cam. Let's go with the pilot program that we call the Mac Classics from the Boston Garden. Here's the return match, July 11th, 1977. Bruno Sammartino in his return match against George the Animal Steele. And our special guest referee, Gorilla Monsoon, the Moncharian Giant. He's going to try to keep control of this match tonight. The Animal, a hairy, green-tongued savage. And the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. There's the bell for our wrestling action. Oh, he's unbelievable, George Steele. But Bruno's moving right in. Boots in midsection. Couple of right hands. George Steele is caught in the ropes now. Monsoon, the referee, trying to let him out. And Sammartino, George Steele. Steele with that foreign object now. Oh, right into the throat of Sammartino. Gorilla Monsoon trying to find that foreign object. A master at concealing it. George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer, puts a big left boot to the chest of Sammartino. In the corner now with a couple of heavy blows. This is the return match. This is the one that it's all about, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation title. The Animal used to come in during the October season, and he used to beat down all the wrestlers till he got to the #1 contender slot. Sammartino backing him in the corner now. He's going wild again. Bruno Sammartino. Unbelievable boots to the midsection. Uncontrolling right hand to the side of the head now. And George the Animal Steele has woken up the lion. Sammartino whips him over that top rope. Holding on now, trying to hold on. It's George the Animal Steele. Oh no! He's got that timekeeper's table. George the Animal Steele, Gorilla Monsoon trying to... Oh, Bruno rams his head into that timekeeper's table. That's a steel table. Steel top, wooden frame. Bruno Sammartino putting the boots to the Animal hot and heavy. He's going to show the Animal tonight that he is the Abruzzi Strongman. He is the Worldwide Wrestling Federation champion. And he's putting the boots to George Steele. George Steele looks like he might be out. Coming back now, looks like he's ripping apart that corner buckle with his teeth. He used to like to eat those corner buckles. Ripped them apart. Used that stuff on the inside, raking across the Animal's face. Monsoon trying to find that object. Sammartino got it now. Got that foreign object now on George the Animal Steele now. He's using it on the Animal. Big blow to the side of the head of George the Animal Steele, who finds himself outside the ring. Up against those barriers again. These two wild men, wild Donnybrook here in Boston, ramming his head up against that plexiglass. And the security outside the ring better stay away from Steele. And a second time he rams him right into that plexiglass. Sammartino, Gorilla Monsoon, he's got a chair. Watch out, Steele. Oh, he hit Monsoon with it. Sammartino gets the chair, rams it across the head of Steele. Looks like a 3 count. Yes, Gorilla Monsoon. George the Animal Steel taking a nap now. The golden boy, Alan Skolin. And Bruno Neil still with the chair. And that'll be the end of this feud in Boston. Gorilla Monsoon got clocked with the chair. Oh, watch out, Steel got a chair. Oh, he clocked Monsoon. He clocked Monsoon on the head with that chair. And we're back here. We're going to read a lineup from the Boston Garden, the Graham Wizard, Superstar Billy Graham. And on the back, you got Professor Toru Tanaka and Mr. Fuji. That night, particular lineup, the main event at that particular time was Superstar Billy Graham, which was champion against Larry Zbyszko. Bruno Sammartino, as you just watched, in the match with George the Animal Steel, the Detroit Destroyer, with the referee Gorilla Monsoon. Ken Patera wrestled Tony Garea and pinned him in 12 minutes and 35 seconds. Stan the Man Stasiak beat High Chief Peter Maivia, which is The Rock's grandfather, as well as Baron Von Raschke coming to Boston out of the AWA against Chief Jay Strongbow, and a special tag team match was Professor Toru Tanaka and Mr. Fuji against Lenny Hurst and SD Special Delivery Jones, Rocky Tamayo against Jose Gonzalez from Puerto Rico, and also Johnny Rodz wrestled Johnny Rivera, and the bonus match of the night, which was my favorite match, Tony Altamori, the late great Tony Altamori, against the man from Catania, Sicily, Joe Turco. We give you the Gazilja. You know the Gazilja? Right here. Okay, now we're going to shoot that picture of the Gullah Twins and myself, the close-up. Look at that shot. Rocky Rain here. Can you believe it? Frank had on the big hairy vest, and Joe was looking up into the gods. Right there. Can you believe it?
That's a long
If
time.
anyone can guess what year that was, we'll give you $25 and a Happy Meal. Okay, let's go to that other top picture when Joe Gullah did not even have a tattoo on his body, and Frank Gullah had that huge picture, that picture of that lion on the sides of his arms, and that was August of 1982. We got a few minutes left of the Gullah Twins. They're going to tell you again what they're going to do. They're going to be at the Club Lido November 10th, I believe. Big time wrestling with Terry Allen doing some of the promotions, I believe. And the Gullah Twins are coming out of retirement. So get your tickets in advance because it may be a sellout and you're going to see a wrestling match like no other. So Frank, take it over. We're going to wrap it up with you and Frank and go right ahead.
Listen, all you people in Revere, if you remember the days when we used to kick some butt, we'll bring them into today's world because we're not done. We're going to continue doing what we did best. We're going to go in the ring. We're going to take on all oncomers. It doesn't matter who it is. And we're going to show you what the House of Pain is made of. Don't let us out of the ring for 5 years fool you. Like my brother said, we've been training, going to the gym, working out, eating our vegetables, taking our vitamins. We've been doing it all. So on November 10th, come down to the Lido, and I guarantee you will not leave unhappy. You'll be walking home saying, House of Pain. House of Pain. House of Pain.
House of Pain.
Bring it down.
House of Pain.
Joe,
and
go
if
ahead.
you've been in our matches, that's all you heard. Everett. We wrestled in Everett, we wrestled in Malden, we wrestled in different parts of the states. That's all you heard was House of Pain. House of Pain. House of Pain.
Got a hell of a jingle, doesn't it?
And if you were at those matches, you're gonna hear that jingle like my brother just said, and you're gonna go, you know what? I remember that. And of course you remember because you were there. House of Pain is coming back. Be with us.
You know what you're going to hear, too? You're going to hear ECW because you got Just Incredible, The Sandman, Sid Vicious, lock your doors, close everything down, shut everything down because he's crazy. I know he is.
Oh, yeah.
And Evo, beware of the chair. Beware of the chair.
That's all I can say is beware of the chair. Beware of anything that's outside of the ring that night. When you got ECW guys in there, anything goes. Tie the barrels down, tie down the tables, tie everything down because
That's
anything
right.
goes that night.
Okay, all for one and one for the House of Pain. Let's hear it right here. The
House
House of Pain.
Yeah, be there.
You better believe it. Hey.
Be there.